liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible. Mayor, we still haven't changed the public comment section. We talked about this multiple times. All right. And therefore, I am not going to approve the minutes from June 19th for that reason. The minutes looked okay, except public comments, which we had not. We agreed to go back to the. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so public comments for this time. Yes, you do. Right, yes, you do. Hi, I'm Catherine Blaze. I live at 403 North Brew Road, just a half a mile down the road. And I'm here to speak on 4.4. I want to encourage the City Council to not do away with the Northwest River Road grant. There's so many unknowns. We don't know if we're going to have to pay it back or not. And I would hate to have the city learn the hard way. If we do have to pay it back, there's as many people who say that we do as there are a few people who say we don't. And I think it's actually something that would really benefit the city with water mitigation and also with the new road, the water pipes. It would be something that the city has never gotten a $6.7 million grant before, and I think it's well worth finishing. That's my comment. Ernest, your turn.
Hello, Ernest Taylor. 60 Woodley Way in Martin. And as you recall, I spoke to you about the urgent fire hydrant on the ranch. One fire hydrant in there, at least 3 months. Just kind of give you a little update on what's been happening on that. I've been talking to Steve over at the water company, and any bids has to come from them. And so they determine what the water line, what not to put on the water line. And so they get to select the contractor that they want to use. This company here, this quote here, for that. They have done almost all the work, I guess, for the water company. As you'll see, 3 fire hydrants are about $33,000. Now, here's the good news. Steve, and this is not set in stone, they have a meeting on the 13th, and I plan to do that. By the way, I see on your agenda, you're looking at maybe making government city liaisons. I hope you both will do that. Very familiar with what's going on. The city tells me, because this also benefits the water company, and they may be willing to spend somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 for it, which desperately would reduce the city's costs tremendously. So what I'm here to ask you to do is, in the budget in the full amount of $33,000 for 3 fire hydrants. That hopefully Mr. Governor and myself, I'll go and do whatever he needs help with. And if we get the water company to do that, that can lower the city's cost down possibly around $20,000 or $18,000, which is tremendous. Now, one of the things that Steve tells me that made this be higher than what we thought it would be, they now put a, you'll see it there, a towel on each one of those. And the reason they do that is that's the way they do it now. But if there's an issue that they got to replace the fire hydrant or do something, they can turn the water off to the fire hydrant and the city, the residents can this budget, but we can get it done. And I'm hoping that once the budget year starts October 1st, we can get rolling on this thing. Hopefully in November, we can come in here and say, hey, the water company did, we can do this, and we save $1,000, whatever. It's a great time for the city to really do what's right over there. Like I said, we haven't gotten anything. We really haven't. This is a safety issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mary Beth Parker. Thank you, city, for recognizing what community coverage and birthday is offering citizens and work. Thank you, city, for agreeing to the library services contract. We were notified today that we received accreditation. Woo! Anyway, this is for my class this week. The summer reading program ends this Saturday, and during the reading hours we have prizes. The Saturday program is Bob Ross training Bob Ross. This Saturday, this is from 12 to 2 and 4:30. This is funded by grant from St. Children. San Marcos School District freshman returning student from Martindale. Thursday, July 31st. Also, and school starts August 13th. Our new LTV is hosted from the window of the Chelsea. Fantastic. It was purchased with St. David's. There's local business information as well as 24/7 and produced peer support specialists. I appreciate it. I wanted to thank y'all for including for the city announcements. That's part of the contract. If you have a flag that's old, torn, or just needs to be retired, bring it to the library. Flags are given to the local Boy Scouts. Several moments. Ongoing programs, cutting back on some of the things that ongoing programs, regular club on Wednesday afternoons. On Thursday at 11 is story time. On Fridays at 11 is adults talk conversation. The night of 10. I can't help you. I'll be calling conversations starting later on Friday. Then social when having Friday movies and afternoons after school social. And his book club will be the first Friday. I just want to share our good news. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Sonia Villalobos, 413 Northwest River Road. This is in regards to item 4.3 on the agenda, and I sent it as a formal email, and I'm going to go ahead and read it here today, but this is just to raise a concern regarding the process and priorities surrounding public infrastructure decisions, specifically the recent attention given to installing fire hydrants in one particular neighborhood, prompted by a formal council member. Thank you for your service. So then, now acting as a self-appointed spokesperson for that area, which we all heard that at the last meeting. While I fully support fire safety and believe every neighborhood should be equipped with proper infrastructure, I'm deeply concerned that the city appears to be reacting to individual influence and property tax levels rather than making decisions based on an objective risk and equity. This raises critical questions. What criteria is the city using to determine where the fire hydrants are placed? Is public safety being applied equitably all across all neighborhoods, regardless of income or property tax value? And why is this issue only being addressed now? Because we had, you were a former council member.
You have any money?
So you, okay, well, you were a former council member, so even if there was zero money, it could have been addressed and been a lot of it lost in there. Okay, go ahead and finish. While on the council, this situation creates the appearance and possibly the reality of a system where those who pay higher taxes get faster or better service, while neighborhoods with lower tax base are left behind. That is just not how a just city functions. I ask the council to publicly share the city's policy and timeline for infrastructure upgrade, fire hydrant placement, ensure that the decisions are made based on data, risk, and assessment and fairness, not any, by any tax brackets, and then commit to a more transparent process that invites input from all residents, not just the loudest voices or the most connected individuals. So I'm going to be the voice for 1979. They don't have fire hydrants either.
Apparently, I was able to understand.
Donna is not here this evening, and they can't hear.
We're the little speakers.
There was only one people on, but you know what, I might know. Hold on. I found something yesterday. I'm sorry. Go ahead. If you want to your public comment while I'm looking.
Sorry, okay. Well, first of all, thank you for letting me speak. I live in River Bend, which is in y'all's days. Next, if I could ask for a little more time, I signed up to speak in favor of the grant project, but I am a retired firefighter and I'm very familiar with fire hydrants. If I could have a few minutes extra. All right. Thank you. The individual mentioned fire hydrant and seemingly disproportionate tax base and where fire hydrants are placed. Having functional and good fire hydrants that produce the appropriate amount of water goes to lowering an individual's taxes, their personal, not tax, insurance for their home. It also goes into improving rate and insurance of the city. So those placements are very critical. And typically you want to think about every 1,000 feet. All right. But it's also what type of pipe is supplying the fire hydrant. You might have a fire hydrant. There's just a 2-inch pipe. You don't have any water. It doesn't matter. You also might have the age of the infrastructure. So let's say you have a hydrant pretty much every corner or every 1,000 feet. Okay, great. But if they're on a 3-inch or 4-inch main, you don't have water. And water has to do with how large the fire is, avoiding conflagration, burning down your city. It's a very this versus that, or are you going to tear up the roadway to put in your rear line? So it has such ripple effects in the purchasing power and that subdivision. Unfortunately, some of the older subdivisions, that's true.
Thing. And so, but in general, more hydrants water's good, hydrants are good, more hydrants are better to that end. And if you can afford, get them in, get them in. And it's an imperfect world, and you certainly want to upgrade old facilities, but you also want to take advantage of new dollars. So with that concept, taking advantage of new dollars, I highly encourage the city to accept the grant money to take advantage of new dollars. Martindale needs every penny it can get hold of, for your infrastructure. And once again, it's not perfect. It may not be as much roadway as you had hoped for to begin with, but certainly take advantage, because in just a couple of years, first of all, the money may not be there. You're lucky to even get a hold of it right now. Or it'll be the project, instead of 6 million, will be 10 million, 15 million. There's no telling how many more million. So that's one. Now, I've heard a few comments about why you should vote against it. And I've heard some talk about the cemetery and possible erosion and flooding of the cemetery and that sort of thing. And I've also heard about the disturbance that it'll cause to the neighbors as it's being built. Well, I believe both of those are real, but I also believe both of those should not hold the project up, in that they can be engineered out. For your flooding situation, which is a bigger topic, you certainly want to make sure you have curbs and drainage and all that for your cemetery. But also, well, how do you handle a neighbor? Well, you can have carve-outs in the contract. You can have like dust mitigation, work hours, no sooner than 8 in the morning, and it ends at 5 in the evening. You could also have where if the contractor doesn't finish the job in a timely manner, it starts affecting them financially to encourage them to get the work done sooner. So those concerns are real, but I don't think it should hold up the project. Martindale needs money, it needs good roads. Take advantage of what you can take advantage, take the opportunity to get grant money. Thank you.
Can I address one thing he said on fire hydrant?
Let's wait for everybody to have a turn to talk first. Marcy, Roy,
She's currently coming back from work. If we could let her arrive, she's on her way. We got somebody else on the call.
right, there is a comment that was mailed in. Where is it? Quentin, do you happen to know if you could get, wasn't here just a second ago? Oh, Quentin, could you ask Patricia?
Let me find it, I think I got it somewhere.
Thank you. It was very short. In the meantime, you want to say?
Yeah, I really appreciate what this man said about the fire hydrants and being a fireman. Our neighborhood does have the proper piping. It is looped to other neighborhoods. And in talking with Steve this week, he's mentioned to me that there's several places that would love to put fire hydrants, but the infrastructure is not there. A 2-inch line won't do it. Our 2 neighborhoods are newer and the piping is right. In fact, we have 1 there now, but we just need 3 more. And they would be approximately 1,000 foot apart. I think city codes, correct me if I'm wrong, is 500 foot from home. And so by doing that, we're gonna meet the rural water standards, but maybe not the city standards. And that's questionable. They will determine where they can put them and the cost, putting them there. Obviously, your liaison will work with them on it, but you have one.
Right, thank you. Any other?
I found it.
Okay.
You want me to read it? Big thanks to the city and council for the work on the proposed ordinance to protect our sacred river trees, ecosystems, plants, and consequently all creatures big and small that call this land home. It is greatly appreciated. Could y'all explain a bit about the logistics of enforcement? If the ordinance is passed, how will it be enforced?
which representative of the city will be responsible for ensuring compliance with the ordinance. In gratitude, Patricia Matthews. I believe she's speaking about the tree.
Yep, about the tree discussion later. Tonight's meeting is just a reading to get some discussion and kind of weigh in with the council and see where everybody stands on it. We're not gonna be passing anything, it's not ready yet, so we will build in that concern as we go. Anybody else need to make a comment? No? Okay, we will go ahead and move on for the purposes of time. Whenever Marcy arrives, we can give her an opportunity to make her comment. Meanwhile, Don Almond, audit presentations.
Good evening, I am Don Almond, CPA. And first off, would like to thank the city of Martindale for choosing my firm to do the audit for the city of Martindale. Greatly appreciate the business. I enjoyed coming up to Martindale. Graduated from Southwest Texas, which is now Texas State, still hard to say that. But 37 years ago now, 1988. So it's always good to come back around this area though. Quick drive into San Marcos for lunch, so very appreciate that. And I'd like to thank the staff here, of course, everyone that did a great job. I can't thank Mr. Dwayne Anderson enough. He did a fantastic job getting all the the accounting information together, and being a fellow CPA, he put it in kind of the format we need. So that was a real plus. So big thanks to him. And I apologize for our lateness with this. It's been a crazy busy year. I actually live outside of Liberty Hill, which, heard was affected by the floods. We thankfully, thank God our house was fine, but the two bridges getting out of town were not. So we were just kind of stuck at home, and we did have power outages. So anyway, long story short, yeah, like I said, hopefully I didn't notice really any bad debris out here. Hopefully y'all weathered that pretty well, because yeah, actually they're still working on the bridges outside of our town.
Yeah, it missed us. We got lucky.
Yeah. Because yeah, actually we also do the city of Ingram, which is right by Kerrville, and I haven't even heard from them.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So, yeah, I'm almost kind of scared to contact. But yeah, we'll need to get with them pretty soon too. But anyway, I will not bore y'all anymore with all of the stuff. Go to page 3. And also probably, hopefully to y'all's delight, I will not go through all 50 pages tonight. I will just go through 3. Under financial highlights there, the second paragraph, the first bullet point. City's net position increased $122,924 as a result of year's operations. And this is for the fiscal year ended September 30, 2024. What's that mean in English? Net position increase is net income. This is across both funds. So that $122,000 is the net income for both the general fund and the wastewater fund. Your second bullet point there reads the general fund ended the fiscal year with an increase of $77,225 in net position, and the proprietary fund ended the fiscal year with an increase of $44,899. What's that mean in English? General fund, net income $77,000, wastewater fund, and net income right at $45,000. Your third bullet point there reads the general fund, community development fund, and special revenue funds ended the fiscal year with a $58,793 decrease in governmental funds net position, and that is due to capital expenditure. What's that mean in English? Governmental funds is kind of like a cash basis, where the two items above are accrual, government-wide financials. Try to make this part short. Government-wide financials depreciate capital assets. Governmental funds expend them. As I said, being like a cash basis. So that's how you can go from $77,000 net income in the general fund, but then under the governmental funds, since y'all added about $200,000 of capital assets last year, that led to that decrease. So that is due to capital expenditure in the general fund last year. And now let's turn over to page 6. This is the net position or balance sheet. We do have the governmental activities, which is your general fund, business type activities, which is the wastewater and sanitation fund. We have 24 and 23 side by side. Current assets in the general fund, that's gonna be all your checking accounts, you'll be seeing all bank accounts for the general fund, also property tax receivable, sales tax receivable. $765,323. Most of that is cash. The cash balance was, I think, about $697,000. It's down about $200,000 from the prior year. And if we look, just you get a little bit ahead of myself, look down at your capital assets, $1,789,000, up from $1,589,000. That's up $200,000. So that's where it went. Moved current assets from current assets into your capital assets by adding about 200, actually a little over 200,000 in general fund capital assets. Restricted assets, that is all cash. That is cash that is set aside for a specific purpose, most of it for debt service, $127,806. That's up from $70,546. So those three items get your total assets, $2,682,941. That's up from the $2,622,000. So we're up about $60,000 overall on your total assets, which is of course good. Deferred outflows of resources is a TMRS pension number. Doesn't really affect the city of Martinville directly. It's a negative $8,288, down from right at $21,000 in the prior year. But again, it's a pension number, doesn't really affect the city. Current liabilities, that's going to be accounts payable, but the largest portion of that is due to other state entities, and most of that for like fines and fees. $98,924. That was down though from the $388,000 in the prior year, so you decreased that debt by about $90,000, which is of course good. Long-term liabilities in the general fund, and so y'all don't have any loans or bonds. These are also pension numbers for $39,000, down from about $63,000. So your total liability is $338,000. That's down from $451,000. So you decreased your debt $113,000. Which is of course good. Deferred inflows of resources, again, TMRS pension number, $69,000 from 2004. Net position, that's kind of government audit for net worth. So that'd be the net worth of the city of Martinville's general fund. Your investment in capital assets, do have a pretty sizable investment here. In the city of Martinville, $1,781,278, up almost $200,000 from the $1,589,000 for 2024. And as mentioned, the increase is due to a little over 200,000 capital assets added. Restricted, again, that's money set aside for specific purposes. I think all of that right there is debt service, $105,000. That's way down from the $295,000. And the prior year, unrestricted, this is an important number because that's free and quick. That's money that can be spent however the mayor and council so chooses. Doesn't have any restrictions, any other obligations. $380,228. And that's up about $75,000 from your $305,000. We're in a very good up position there, increase at $75,000. So your total net position, $2,267,000, up from the $2,189,000. So we're about $78,000 on the year in the general fund. So that's business type activities. That's going to be wastewater and sanitation. Maybe have water. Your current other assets, so that's checking accounts in the wastewater and sanitation fund. Also, customer receivables, $82,437. It was actually negative last year. Big turnaround there in the wastewater fund to go from 82,000 positive up from 35,000 negative, and no restricted assets in the wastewater fund. Capital assets in the wastewater fund, $1,253,000, down from the $1,293,000. $40,000 decrease. That is all due to depreciation. Total assets, $1,336,350, from the $1,298,000. So you're up about $38,000 there on your total assets. Current liabilities, not much debt there in the wastewater fund, $17,000, down from $68,000. Long-term liabilities, $44,000. Total liabilities, $61,005, down from $68,500. So you're down about $7,000. Net position or net worth of the wastewater sanitation fund. Net investment capital assets there, $1,253,000. Same as up above, is because you don't have any debt outstanding on your capital assets. Down from the $1,293,000, $40,000 decrease just due to depreciation. No restricted funds in wastewater. Unrestricted, $20,886. But it was $104,000 negative in the prior year though, so a nice turnaround to turn that over into positive. About $120,000 swing there, which is good. Let's go now to page 7.
Hey, wait.
Let's start here.
hate to interrupt.
I know people usually want this over.
I know you can't say general, but compared to other clients you have with the cities of this type of population, are we average, a little better than average, or something like that?
Really good question. You do about 40 cities.
We're small town.
Oh, we do lots and lots. Believe it or not, I do probably.
Hate to put you on the spot.
No, we easily do 10 or 15 that are smaller than y'all. You're about in the middle.
Okay.
But I mean, let's look at your, just real quick. It's like your unrestricted general fund 380, that's good. You know, you do have a little more money invested in your capital assets than some funds. So it's really they were really good, interesting question. I'll try not to bore y'all too long. But we've got some really small cities that are kind of funny because, I mean, I have one that's kind of up near Waco that they've got more money than they know what to do with.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, they're smaller than y'all, but they've got, gosh, I think, like, 1 or 2 million in cash.
What's their standard?
They don't do anything.
They don't.
I mean, I kind of, when I present their audit, I say, oh gosh, y'all are so great saving all this money. But I'm like, why are y'all incorporated? I don't do anything. I mean, literally, that's all that they collect their property tax and they collect their sales tax. They pay their employees. They don't do any road improvements. They don't do any parks. They don't, it's kind of like, gosh, that's great. Y'all got all this money, but shouldn't you do something with it? But then we've got some other ones though that are a little bit bigger than y'all, not much, but oh gosh, I've got one city that the Texas Water Development Board is screaming at us to get that done. And I'm like, they've had like 3, personnel changes, so everything's a mess out there, and they were like way behind. They've got a $9 million debt.
Oh, ouch.
And I'm like, I don't know what finance, what school the finance people did that did that, because I don't see it. Yeah.
We know that.
Well, I mean, yeah, me in the 80s, yeah, it's getting up there now academically. It's very good. I did play football there too. And actually, well, we were lousy. We were 4-7, 3-8. Oh, anyway. So yeah, I'd say y'all are, kind of in the middle of that. You're in a good position though. Y'all do have positive net worth with all that. So yeah.
Thanks for your answer.
Sure, yeah.
There's another question.
Sure.
Do you happen to know, or does anybody else on council want to know what the increase in the capital assets, the 200,000?
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, see, if you ever have a real hard time falling asleep, read this whole thing. And,
I think I'd rather have numbers chasing me.
but yeah, especially the pension part, because I won't bore y'all with that, but because it doesn't apply. But the city of Chicago, 7 or 8 years ago's pension fund failed. So they changed it to where we have to put that in your audit now. Instead of a footnote, because, I mean, just real quick, I'll try not to bore y'all. Look at page 11. So I tell you, your general fund, long-term debt of that 39,000, it's accrued compensated absences in your OPEB liability, neither of which you will ever really have to pay, unless, just everybody quits on the same day or the OPEB or the TMRS fails. For y'all, that's not a big deal. There's a couple bigger cities I do where that's $1 million.
Yeah.
And they have $1 million liability on their books that they don't pay. But the AICPA changed that because they're like, oh, we have to cover that just in case. But anyway, get back to your capital assets. Go to page 31. See towards the bottom there, that's your kind of depreciation schedule for the general fund. In infrastructure, we had 57,885. Construction in progress was 156,809. So yeah, you're right. 214,694 was your capital asset added last year.
So it could be roads.
Okay.
Right.
I had a question about page 11 on the liabilities. due to other government entities, 264,620.
570, yes.
Is that the money we owe to the comptroller?
Yes,
So we're against 264 now.
well,
Was it a year ago?
it was 10 months ago,
So
That's in
September 30th.
September of 24.
Yeah,
It was 264. I assume we paid it down.
yeah, because I mean, y'all paid that down a bunch.
Smaller than that.
Yeah.
It's
'Cause it wasn't-
1,700 a month.
Yeah, it was 380.
There's a few other things in there, but yeah, it was 388 in the prior year, not 298. So yeah, y'all are making good progress paying that down.
Interest free.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so then now the last page I will read tonight, page 7. Your change in net position. Excuse me, again, governmental activity, general fund, business type activities, your wastewater. Again, 2024 and 23 side by side. Charge for services in the general fund, 160,000 down from 172. So like $12,000 decrease there. Excuse me, grants, 164,752, down almost 200,000 from 357 in the prior year. Property tax revenues were actually up 387,000 up from 276, so you're up about 11,000 now. Sales and hotel taxes down just slightly, 119,000 down from 130. Franchise fees up slightly, 57,000 up from 53. And interest income was up, as you know, rates are still pretty high. 47,000 up from 39,450. Miscellaneous income, 15,000 down from 17,000. 6,900 was transferred over to the wastewater fund. So total revenue, 945,034. That is down from the 1,126,000, but remember your grant income is down about 200,000. So yeah, your actual operating revenues would be up. Because yeah, since you're only down about 188, your actual operating revenues though were up for the year, which is good. Your general government expenses, 585,691. Big difference in the 852,105, but as you see, we kind of allocate things a little different. See, the prior auditor only put 28,000 for public safety. We try to get all your public safety expenses. So we got 218,637. So, again, that's, I don't think that's a reflection of, big changes here, just kind of the way the changes that first, the way I report things and the prior people thing. Public Works, they had 12,000. You can see municipal court, we allocated a lot more expenses to that, to 37,750. So we had 1,748 last year. Community development, I had 25,731. They didn't report any last year. So really, kind of the best way to look at this is your total expenses, 867,809, and that is down from the 894,618. So again, you increased your operating expenses a little and decreased your operating expenses, which is good. Which my family prefer not to do that. Anyway, so yeah, you're changing that position. It is net income for the year, 77,000. It is down from the 232. But again, but in there, 200,000 different in grants. So actually, your net income was better in 24 than it was in 23 because you had a lot less grant. Let's look over your business type activities, your wastewater and sanitation. This is all income there. So that's going to be wastewater, sanitation, miscellaneous grant, everything. 456,547. That's up from 311. Look down at the total, because again, today separates some things. We just had that all included. 463,000 up from 353. So we're up about 110,000 in revenues. Wastewater and sanitation expenses were 418,528. Up from 405, so you're up about 13,000 expenses. Again, really good management to have 100,000 more income and only spend about 13,000 of it. Changing that position, net income, right at 45,000. There's a $51,000 loss last year, so about a $96,000 turnaround in the wastewater fund. I've talked way too much. Any comments or questions?
There were several typographical problems in the report version that we had. I'll email those to you just so that you can.
Right.
Like one of them said that we get money from Bell County rather than Caldwell County, and there were several things.
Well, I think hopefully we fix those.
Okay.
Yeah, turn up the draft.
Yeah.
If you look at page 29. Because that's about the only place in the counties mentioned. Yeah, we have Caldwell County.
Okay.
And in the final version, you
Perfect.
saw the draft.
Thank you.
To be more efficient, we'll try to copy similar audits over. And then that should all, not be any kind of issues at all next year since we have your under system.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
A really good report.
Yeah, very good report. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Go Bobcats.
I was class of 78.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate your help. Let's see. Next couple reports, one, the emergency sirens update, the sirens are working. And, we found out that electricity had hit basically the surge protector of I don't know what it's called inside a emergency siren, but that's what its function was. So electricity had hit that and that knocked out the battery. So even though the batteries were spanking new, I think they were replaced in 2023, they were completely drained and we have just replaced them yesterday, but the sirens have been working on power since we did the test, I don't know, 2 weeks ago.
I heard it really well in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I was like, what's going on?
We were able to, Chief has been very proactive about making sure that we've got the updated maps and that we, next month we'll be subscribed to an annual maintenance plan. So they will come and check all the wires and check all the sounds and check all the batteries and make sure everything continues working from here forward. Roof update. Yes.
Is it gonna be a scheduled?
Yes, there will be. Chief is working on that. When he does a report in a minute, I will have him.
I thought somebody asked a question about, is it a different siren for a tornado and a hurricane and a flood, or?
I think there's just two. Yeah, he'll get
Okay.
those, he'll do those. But yeah, there's two. One's a flood and one's a tornado.
Okay.
And we are working on how we're gonna make sure people know the difference. But we'll make sure to get it out to everybody. And we're gonna test both of them once a month so that
Okay.
you'll get used to hearing them and know which one it is. Roof update.
Oh, wait, excuse me, Mayor, can I just add one thing? I think that our chief of police is currently working on an emergency preparedness plan.
He'll talk about that.
Yeah, okay, good. So that's good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thanks
Thank
for bringing that up. Yeah, he is working on that. The roof update is that we, went back and talked to, the roofing company that we approved on the condition that Daniel Carl also did it. I have not been able to secure a thumbs up or thumbs down from Daniel since our last meeting. However, I asked the company about the 27,000, even if Daniel Carl doesn't do it. He did agree that he will just only go with 27 for us, even if Daniel doesn't respond. And I told them the main concern about having Daniel do it at the same time was the water running over. He said they can he said, first of all, because of the roof structure, he doesn't believe that will be an issue. But then second of all, he said that they could also use a membrane liner between the two, where the two roofs meet, so that no water can go through. It would be a waterproof membrane thing. So, that's my update on that. I don't really have a vote to take on that, but if you have opinions about it, let me know. I'll continue to try to get in touch with Daniel so that I can let you know something either way with him. So then, City Hall updates, besides the emergency sirens, we were able to get out this week and do a whole bunch of pothole filling on the first street of Skyview and the entry area to Skyview. We also had to make some major adjustments to the sewer hookups at 204 Johnson and at 104, I think, Crockett. And in wake of that, they had to tear up the road to put in new sewer taps do sewer cleanouts. And that being said, we have Caldwell County, they have given us an estimate to repair the road over the area where the sewer surgery was completed. But otherwise, everything is looking good for that. And here's Marcy. Marcy, would you like to make your public comment? We were waiting just for you. And I love your shirt. That's really great.
Wow.
Thank you. Absolutely, be please. Customer service is our thing.
Okay, where do I stand for this?
Right here.
Right here, okay,
Yeah,
okay. All right. All right. I'll make it short, okay? You know, the Martindales are my family. Nancy Martindale was my great-great-great-grandmother, and it was my grandfather that got the city incorporated, and he did it for a reason, and I think you'll need to keep this in mind. He wanted the people of Martindale to have a voice. Okay? San Marcos was trying to put a dump in at the gravel pit down here, and it could poison the wells. And it wasn't good for the citizens of Martindale, and we would have trashed our community. So he got us incorporated, and here we are today. We're at a crossroad, a real critical crossroad. You know, there's some talk about the graves at the Creighton Cemetery and how they're at risk. I want you to factor in that my mom, who is 91, can recall playing in the water on that road after school was out. That's a natural drainage area. And if this grant were to go through, the graves could be protected, not destroyed. Okay. Now, let's say you vote, you say we're doing just default on this grant. This is what made me come in here after working a 10-hour day today, okay? How does this city ever pay back the money that's owed? I've been told it could be $1 million. We can't do that, y'all know that, you know what our budget is. It's not gonna happen. Okay, now think about, because I remember before Martindale was incorporated, no police force, okay? You know how bad that can be. And then think about who's gonna fill the void. Let's just talk about down at the park. Who would want that land? Well, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? It's the tubers. They could make a fortune right there. And you know what they would do to this community? Just like the dump would have done if Martindale had had its way. Trash us. Sam, your property value will just plummet. If you go down to Spring River and you look on a summer Saturday, that area is like a moonscape. The debauchery that goes on down at the river is unbelievable. It would kill the falls. And in Martindale, I gotta tell you guys this, my mom put me up to do this. I mean, we're talking about for 20 years, she's been talking to me about this. Don't let the tubing come in, Marcy. You have to stop it. So here I am right now. I'm asking you to vote for the citizens of Martindale, not for a handful of people who may not want a disruption in their road for a short time. Think about what's good for the greatest number of people in this town. I have been out campaigning for many years. And what do people complain about the most? Great majority, it's our roads. Let's just face it, our roads are bad. This is a chance to do the right thing. And don't turn us into a trash pit.
Thank you. All right, next is the city clerk. Deanna, are you on there? You have to unmute her.
I haven't seen her on here.
Okay. She has, Deanna intended to be here. It's a last second absence because her friend is having cancer treatments and had a very poor response to anesthesia today. So she is taking care of her and Sam's coming. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and move on to the city accountant for his financial report, and we can go back to her if we get it on there.
I hate to do this to y'all again, but I haven't spoken in a while. So do we have a report up here to show or not?
You just have to reach down pages. Go down, down, down.
Page 20, only question I got. Revenue for phase one, revenue for Allen Bay, revenue for Skull Parking. Yeah. Thank
I
you.
don't know if we do. You can use this. Oh, actually,
Start on page 58, or 57. 57 of our PDF.
See that line up there in that box at the top? You top over that with a 57. I'm guessing it should jump there.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to make it come on the screen at all.
No, really?
See if it's right there.
oh, yeah. How do you do it? See, it's the other, oh no.
It's real small.
I can't bring it up. But it seems like we can, oh, wait. Let me try this. I can't.
Yeah, I guess it's not gonna work. We may have to try to do this next month. There's no real news. I just had.
All right then.
I
Let's do
just
it next
hadn't done the report in a while, but you asked about the parking, about $20,000 year to date, and about $20,000, about 3,000 of that is from down by the bridge, and the rest of it is from the, and that's through the end of June.
So that's great. That's one thing that really worked well for the city, and our residents get free, and we have control of our parks. It's a great thing, and you know what? We're a step ahead of cities.
One thing
Just like you can be, we're a step ahead.
I will say, one thing that changed, in the legislative session was this audit, that we just had. It has to be done within 180 days of year end, for us to be able to adjust our property taxes beyond, no new revenue. So,
Does that mean we can't adjust those for this year?
no, it starts next year.
Okay.
It starts next year. Hey, we're there.
What page?
So, like, see where that little 3 is in the top little box? Oh, how are you doing that?
Go down, go down.
Yeah, just keep going then.
Okay, going a lot of pages, a lot of pages. There you go.
No, that's the auditors. That's the one he just did. That's why there's so many pages his report is.
You want to go page 57?
See where it says page 20? You've got to get to.
57.
Go fast, please. Put on your tennis shoes.
Your finger shoes.
Like those little finger hands.
I know. Very high. Get any from her?
I can't tell, I thought it was and then I thought it wasn't.
I can't tell, because I'm always on that.
All right,
There's a
slow
close
down.
right there, right?
Yeah, keep going.
No, that's.
That's 3, 4, 5, 6.
There we go. Oh, that's,
Oh,
that's
come on, we just
impossible
left
to
that.
read. It's better. See, it gets better. Can you see the little plus up there? You can make it bigger. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I usually have.
High level overview, since we just did our budget.
I don't know that I can remember, but I can see it. If I see it.
You got more.
It's funny. So, total cash, we have $618,000 at the end of June. And 390 of that is in our general fund overflow. And the majority of the rest of it is in our, emergency fund, the $267,000. The largest liability of the city is to the state that, Sam asked about earlier, and that number is down to $250,000 now. So we continue to pay on that. Then go on to the next page.
Yes, sir.
You're getting the hang of it.
There you go. So you see here, our operating fund has income through June of $577,000. Over here, our, can you make this go over? Probably not.
You're asking a lot.
There we go.
You got it.
Our utility fund has an income of $264,000 year to date, and if you go down to the bottom of this page.
One moment.
Yeah, there you go. Keep going. Yeah, just so we get to the bottom line. So you see we've overspent the utility fund by $33,000. We've had a lot of special projects there. And then the general fund, back over this way. Yeah, $178,000 to the good year to date. So that'll be burned off as the rest of the year progresses, because property tax revenue comes in earlier in the year. But we're doing fine. And there's budget reports too, if y'all wanna look at them, but.
So that 17 lasts until the end of September, which is the end of this fiscal year?
The 178?
The 178, I apologize.
Yeah.
That lasts us.
Yeah.
Given our.
And remember I told you that the overflow account has like 369, so we've got twice as much as we need to get through the end of the year.
So
Plus, we'll continue to get revenue.
Situation?
So the utility cost was the pumps in the lift station?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that we got covered with insurance. I don't think I've been here since that. But we got $37,000 worth of insurance reimbursed on our $45,000 lift station repair over here.
Oh, good.
And also it involved Madison as well. And so it was struck by lightning. This one got some foreign object stuck in the pump. So yeah, that was a nice little shot of money. I remember it was a whole lot more upside down than it is. Any other questions?
Can we file for insurance for any part of the roof repair?
I can ask, but I don't know. A roof is one of those things that they depreciate its value every year. And
So ours is in the negative. Sorry.
What am I on now?
You go too far, go back up one.
Okay.
You're there. Sorry.
Sorry, it just jumped on.
I know it does. I know, I'm trying to do it too. So, question.
so you were looking at the general fund budget versus actual, go down a little bit.
Stop.
Oh, down?
Yeah. One more page.
Sorry.
It's not as easy as it sounds.
Okay, I'm looking for 5510.
Right?
Accounting and auditing, you've got an expense here of 10,394.
You did one a little bit. 10,000, okay.
And is that done?
No, I just gave him another $12,000
Thank
tonight.
you, that's what I thought. I knew we talked about that.
Yeah, and that's because
I thought that was too low.
last year's audit went over, but his fee going forward is 16,000. The last auditor took on.
So this was gonna be 26 total then? Yeah, okay. That's what I remember discussing that with Jared, when we were crossing figures praying, it was gonna be lower, but.
Yeah, and, you know, on his report, he showed that we had spent $57,000 in infrastructure spending. That's computers and software and all of that stuff. So, to help make this possible. I guess I'll leave.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you for the help. Okay, River Advisory Board. Will mayor, councilmen, and women, please pay attention because these will come back up in 4.2.
Okay. These are, Jay couldn't be here, he's out of state, so, you get me. These are recommendations that we came, away from our June meeting with, and, anyway, number one, Cape Stam, a lot of you are not familiar with that, so I've included, a little educational short list, with this, that I emailed. The recommendation is to issue a proclamation accompanied by a letter to the city of San Marcos advocating for the removal of Cape Stam to enable the riverbed to return to its historic natural state for a healthier river ecosystem. Real briefly, according to the San Marcos River Foundation, one, there are safety concerns. Cape Stam is falling apart and is no longer safe. Environmentally, the dam leads to the diversion of water away from the natural channels of the river, which is particularly harmful in times of drought. In addition, removal of the dam would return the river to its natural healthy state. Health concerns, dammed up water is frequently stagnant and poor quality, which can harbor pathogens and lead to health issues. Now, a lot of you aren't aware that this issue has been festering in San Marcos for a long time. And you might think that it's out of our lane, but you have to remember that whatever happens upriver comes downriver. Their poor quality of water is going to affect our quality of water. And we would not be doing our job if we didn't do good by the river as an advisory committee and advocate for good stewardship. Recommendation number 2, River Appreciation Weekend is now October 17th and 18th. And we are recommending the city's continued support for this event.
So you checked with OYOU already, and it does not conflict with that.
Exactly. I think they're going on the 12th. And lastly, the construction on Northwest River Road, the Riverview development. There is no stormwater protection. We recommend the city require stormwater pollution prevention measures consistent with those of TCEQ or to report non-compliance to TCEQ. We had the same issue with their other development across the street, the Dreams subdivision, where they didn't put any silt fencing, no permitting, and everything just went in the river.
Has anybody contacted TCEQ? You all have?
I understand there has been a complaint being submitted.
All right.
Any questions?
Questions, comments, thoughts, concerns?
I mean, I agree. I mean, I remember when they brought in clay down the river bottom before, so. Yeah,
trees.
Yeah, they killed a lot of trees, so, yeah, I mean, I believe it needs, I agree, there should at least be silt fencing. Pretty standard. down there walking the dog this morning, and then happening that 45 in there, and that's a whole other issue that I'm confused by, because the culvert that's changed, but they're supposed to have protection of the dirt, or it doesn't just go into the river, it's gotta be retained, and they're not doing that. I'm not an expert, I just, but it doesn't look, they don't have any silt fences, that's all I need.
And actually, they cut that water line, there was mud, you can see the silt coming, it's all behind the house. You can see the mud coming down. They cut that water line. Yeah, right, that ravine.
We will look into that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Chief of Police.
Everyone, real quick on our report for June, we wrote 60 citations and 30 warnings for the month of June. 48 of those were for speeding. Driving without a license or other violations, 8. And then one of the main ones, failure to maintain financial responsibility, which is no insurance, went down, that was 3. We wrote some other things, but those are the main ones. For our patrol activities, we had 6 animal calls, 38 calls for service, and, 31 calls for service, 38 motorists and public assist. We had a lot of crashes for some reason last month.
And y'all be safe.
So our crashes are up, yeah, please be safe, they're up
80,
all over.
really.
So, we had 5 crash reports, and that's a lot for normal, we're at 2 and 3.
Does it have anything to do with weather? I mean, like when it rained a lot or?
No.
Too many people.
One was a DWI, that came out of, off one of the roads, like, I think Don's Fish Camp. Came off Nelly, rather than didn't come off Don's
That
Fish Camp.
surprised me.
Came off Nelly and just went straight across, hit the, big rocks right there, but he was DWI, and that's all on video. So,
It's a lot of
about
calls.
5 incident reports for various things, and then 2 offense reports, we're working on. So that's that. Any questions on the police activities or anything like that?
I just wondered how the patrol cars are doing.
Patrol cars they're doing good right now. We just got new tires on them, on both of them, so we're doing good. Yes, please don't cheat me. Serviceable, they're serviceable and they're driving well.
Is it the right time to talk about the sirens? Cause I know, I'm a river guy. That's always been a concern of mine, flooding.
Okay, so, yes, I'm going to that part of
I'm sorry.
the thing right here. Yes, that's your next thing.
Ahead of you.
Yeah, that's fine. So the sirens, we got in touch with the company. They came out, they were supposed to come out on a Friday or Saturday. I believe there's some people, but they were busy elsewhere. Y'all know what's going on everywhere else, so they were busy. And they finally fit me in at like 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. So, went and met with them. And they started doing, I think the mayor explained all the stuff that they did with, they first analyzed them, checked them all out. And they found that, one of them, it's a big old gray box on the bottom, a gray round cylinder, that, electricity must have struck it at some time. Both of those are run by power. The battery's only a battery backup. But when it's, hadn't had any kind of power to them in so long, because what had happened is it got struck by electricity or lightning, and it knocked the electricity off. The breakers, it's like in your house, the breakers were flipped. So they hadn't been getting charged at all this time. That's why he said they recommended that they be replaced. Oh, okay. So that's why they recommend they be replaced. There's 4 batteries in each one. And so we're working with that company. We're gonna get on a schedule, like she said. She said everything is going on right now with that. So we're gonna get on a schedule. We got the batteries replaced yesterday morning. So they're all up and running. We're gonna work and get a schedule of when it would be. We've talked about it. We're kicking something around like a soccer ball. We're just gonna figure out when's a good time for everyone in the city to enjoy listening to those songs.
So,
3 in the morning.
So chief, real quick,
Make it
so
early.
we're gonna have to pay for the batteries?
Yes.
Yes.
We did
See,
check the
that's,
batteries.
that's what I'm gonna get on the soapbox here a little bit. You know, the state says they own the waterway and they fight us on can bans, they fight us on ordinances, but when it comes to the river, when it doesn't benefit them, they don't take care of the river in any way. So I think personally, the state should pay for that.
Well,
Because since they control the river, waterways, they always
Do
say
you have
they
any
do.
insurance to cover that?
I can only speak to what we're doing right here,
I
right now.
understand.
Yeah,
I just want to do my soapbox.
well, and hopefully, maybe the state, they're going into a special session about flooding and everything else, because that occurred, and maybe they'll look at some of that stuff in the future. But I have no knowledge of any of
Because
that.
we could have been Texas. It could have been here. We're fortunate it missed us. And I appreciate the mayor and yourself getting on top of this because it's life or death. And we need to have a system to warn people because I've been in multiple floods and it's dangerous.
So what Mr. Clinton asked earlier, if I'm doing a plan, we're putting together a plan, but remember, I mean, a plan is what it is, but it's always gonna be fluid. It's always gonna be ever changing. So we're gonna put together the best plan we can. And we'll go over it with multiple people and I'll explain some of that in a minute. And you guys are gonna be a part of this. I'm sending you home with some homework. So, so part of that is gonna be that we're gonna set up a plan where we set these sirens off and we're gonna get on a schedule. When we set them off the first time, we're gonna set them off for both tones so that everyone will know what tone it is. We're gonna record those tones and we're gonna put that as a link on our webpage so everyone will know what tone it is. Hey, I don't want you running outside in a tornado because you think it's a flood. So
You'll have to be in charge of your own family quizzes. Make sure everyone has the sound.
Yes, I mean, because there's children, they may hear them and you may not hear them. So I wanted everyone to know what they are. So we're gonna do that. That's one thing we're gonna do with that. We're gonna post it on our website. You'll hear the sound. We're not gonna put it for the whole length of time, but you'll hear a short bleep of what it means.
We were gonna do it the same as, Lockhart, so that everybody's on the same schedule and knows when to expect it. But they do theirs Saturdays at noon, and we have a bunch of people here on the weekends using the river. That would not be good.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put it out. We talked about it. I will tell y'all right now here. I'll tell y'all. Noon, a lot of places do them on noon on a Monday or Tuesday or whatever. My thought is most people here are gonna be away, or most kids are gonna be away. Most people, they'll be at school. Most people will be at work. So is it really gonna be beneficial to do it then? I'm saying do it on Thursday night at 6 o'clock right before city council. Get everybody here. So that, and then something I said, that way families are home and families can ask their children, hey, did you hear that? Do you know what that means? What are we gonna do? So people can do some training, so we don't have this, so we can get ahead of it. That's some of my stuff on my plan, our plan. It's not gonna be mine, it's ours. We gotta come together as a community. So the other part of that is council members and everything, y'all are required to take some classes, some FEMA classes. So, part of that, I'm gonna send an email to each one of you. And when y'all get that email, you need to follow through with it, okay? So I'm gonna check your homework, I'm gonna check it, make sure. But what you have to do is you have to go on the FEMA's website and create an account, and I'll give you all the information for that.
Password.
Yes, you gotta have a password. Oh, it's a long password too.
It's a long time, it's like 7 tries.
But y'all are required to take really 2 classes online. And, it's NIMS 100 and NIMS 700. But I would like you to take 1, 2, 7, and 8. I'd like you to take 4, and I'm gonna give you all those. I'll send you an email so y'all can take notes, but, they're informative. The other part of it is for, our accountant. There's a portion in there, I want him to sign up and take a class as well. If we do have something, we'll be ahead of the game. So what happens, if you have a disaster, you've gotta keep logs of everything you do, so the city can recoup some money. If we're doing it early and we're doing it as the event's occurring, we're not trying to go back, and we're not missing things, and we can recoup everything that we would have had. So, that's just some things that we're working on. The other thing, I'm getting some bids right now for some pipe fence, or some pipe gates rather, not pipe fence, pipe gates. And we need 3 of them in the city. Really one at Skull, the other side of Skull, and here at Johnson Street. So if we do have a flood event, I can close those gates and we don't have to worry about it. We only have a minimal,
Just to clarify, you talk about the 2 roads, one going down.
Yes, 2 there at that little Y, and then 1 at Johnson Street.
Got it.
And so,
Would we interface with Guadalupe County on the other side?
we can, I can communicate with them and say, hey, we're putting ours up, or they can tell me, hey, we're closing our gates. But what's happened in the past, we only have a few barricades, and we'll put the barricades out, and then we'll go back, and if someone has moved them away, as soon as that water recedes, they'll start going across it. The bad part there is those bridges probably haven't been inspected yet, so you don't know the damage it could cause, or we lose someone in the water because of the bridge washes out. So we'll know that once the engineers come and check our bridge, then we can open our gates. But that's the best way to keep cars from going around them and everything else.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How many sirens do you have? And is there one down river near, down 103 River Road?
Yes, we have 2 sirens in the city. One's at the water company here, and the other's at the water tower on the other end of the city.
Okay.
See, we're
So
taking
close
care
by
of
where, yeah, close where you live.
Well, I mean,
Tell your neighbors.
it's a sideline thing, but maybe we, Riverbend could piggyback on the system, contribute, or I don't know, help put up another tower
They'll
or
be able to
something.
hear that from there.
Okay.
What my plan is once we start setting on getting testing, is maybe send out an email and say, hey, where did you hear it? Did you hear it from here? So people can respond back and let us know how far it is. The speakers that we have right now, they're rated for 5,600 feet. Okay, so, that's what they're rated on to cover this area. You can probably hear it further, whether everything plays a factor.
That's the distance, 50
That's
feet.
it, yes, from the thing, so it's not like a speaker, like you're thinking, it's not like this speaker looking right at you and you're gonna hear 5,600 feet that way. It spins in a giant circle, so it's a giant, speaker on top of the pole, and it just spins in a circle. It's got a 10 horsepower motor that spins it around.
And that's all functional.
That's all functional.
Okay, here today.
Yes, everything is functional here. Now, when this one went off that morning, it probably had a beam at though. I don't know.
Yes.
I want to thank the mayor. I want to thank you for jumping on this ASAP, because it's, since these floods of the Guadalupe, could have been us, a life or death situation. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then.
Wanted to read a quote from Harvard.
Oh, yeah. It is in the skit, but
Yes.
please read it.
This is from Matthew C. Johnson III, MS, Masters of Fisheries Biology. He says, when one can restore a river and a riparian zone nearby to its pre-Columbian status, it is nearly always a good thing. The habitat, ecology, water equality, and water flow have been returned to that in which all the organisms have evolved over epochs. These organisms are now existing in the environment that nature has made them best suited for through a million years of natural selection. Biologically, the native organisms will thrive, the river is better off, and the planet is better off.
Thank you. That pretty much applies to our entire term. Okay, consent agenda item is just the wastewater management. That was Pete's report. If you have questions about that, you are welcome to contact Pete directly. He is not here this time, but he will be here next meeting. Please clarify for me, sir, do we need to motion that, or because it's consent, we don't have to?
Well, if you want to approve this report, normally you don't have to approve a report, but you have it on here on consent agenda. The consent agenda does require.
Does require. Okay, thank you. So, can we have a motion to accept Pete's report?
I'll make a motion to accept Pete's report. Sorry.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
One against? All right, then it passes, and we will go on to new business. First, is the motion to approve the June 19th regular city council meeting minutes. I understand from, Mr. McLeod's earlier, objection that he would not like to do that tonight because there is an, error to be corrected. And that is fine. I do have to say, I don't know that Deanna ever got on, but she's so freaking proud because we have a set of minutes to approve. We haven't had minutes in like 5 years. So she is thrilled with herself, I'll just say, and she worked very hard on them. So we will make the correction and next month we'll have 2 sets of minutes. And you can approve both of them at one time.
Thank you, Mayor.
Then discussion and action, we need a motion on the river committee recommendation to make a proclamation and, letter to San Marcos about the dam.
I'll make a motion to approve the river committee recommendations
About the,
Do one at a time. You're just going down.
about the, Cape Dam?
Great scam.
Cape Dam, Dam.
Great scam.
Capes. That, Capes Camp Dam. Gotcha.
I'll second.
The removal of it or the
The removal.
removal of it, okay.
I will second.
okay. Anyone in favor of removing the dam? Recommending to remove the dam, we're not removing it.
Make a letter to remove
Let's just
it.
go out and remove it.
Yeah, remove it.
All right, anyone in favor of recommending that San Marcos remove the dam?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, then it passes unanimously.
Thank you.
The next one was, what's the next one, help us?
River appreciation.
River appreciation.
Oh, we don't have
Wait, I
to,
thought
we
we
don't have to do
separated,
anything
did we
with
not,
that.
did we not separate this,
It was more-
multiple parts?
Yeah,
We have to finish the river advisory.
that's what I was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But the second one was just, letting us know that that the river day is happening in September, so we don't really need to vote.
October.
In October,
Yeah.
we don't need to vote on that. So then the third one is,
Northwest River Road, there's no, stormwater pollution.
right, yes, and I did say that I will find out about that, so we don't really need a motion yet. But I can reach out to the developer and find out why they're not doing that.
Yeah, especially if those culverts, that's a little problem. With the
Yeah.
little culverts in.
Yeah.
Main.
Okay, and then, so are we good with that then? We finished that? All right, the next one is, motion to designate Matthew, McGovern as the city council liaison to the Martindale Water Supply Corp. To determine potential fire hydrant locations for Hobson Ranch subdivision and get preliminary quotes. I just want to preface that by saying that's part of that whole motion or idea is part of, what we learned in our session with our new, attorney firm, that we need to, officially sanction a person to go and reach out on their own to investigate things. So, Matthew, after listening to the public comments, decided that was something that needed to be looked into further. Which is great, but before doing that, in order to have the council's consent to go out and do something like that, we need to actually appoint him, designate him as a person to liaise with them and bring back information. It will basically just be a fact-finding mission. He'll bring it back to council. They can then hear what all the options are and what he has learned, and then they can decide if they want to do anything about that or not. So it's not a motion to do anything except have Matthew be the person that will go and get information and bring it back to council so council can review it.
Mayor, now you add something to that?
Yes.
When I actually made the recommendation, I did not, single out Hobson Ranch.
That's what I was gonna ask.
I actually wrote it, and maybe it was misunderstood, I wasn't clear, but I did not do Hobson Ranch. I had talked to Steve a long time ago about this, and, you know, that was the question, is I'm also on the volunteer fire board, and so that was like, okay, where is outside the city do we need fire hydrants? So, my thought process was to understand the whole ESD area where these fire hydrants really need and can go. And obviously, the number one concern was the pipe. And most of the places that really need them only have 2-inch pipe. But I would like, if you don't mind, change that to the scope that I could do it for the city.
Yep.
And so I was not trying to do just Hobson Ranch. That was not my intent.
That's a better charter.
Yeah, I would never do just one. That's not-
No, the only reason Hobson Ranch came up is because there was a vehicle fire that burned a fence, and if the fire department hadn't have been able to put it out pretty quickly, then it would have burned down their house. But anyway, but no, I think fire hydrants are important for the entire city. Okay, I'll make a motion to designate Councilmember Matthew McGovern as the city council liaison to the Martindale Water Supply Board to determine potential fire hydrants locations for the city of Martindale. And to get, do you want to live on your quotes?
Yeah, I mean, it's already done, Mr. Pater's already got it done, all that.
I'll second that one.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? All right, then Matthew, congratulations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get to be first painter and Martindale.
Okay, next is the discussion and possible action about rejecting the Northwest River Road grant. I need to thank everybody who has participated and made public comments both for and against the project. I did want to clarify though a few things that have taken place with regard to that grant, because the comments that I'm hearing are they're absolutely pertaining to the conversation the city has been having about the project. But more recent developments about the project, the reason that's on our agenda for tonight is because the situation has changed. At this point, the Texas Historic Commission has given us a stop work order. We are not allowed to do a single thing. We cannot hire anyone, we cannot fire anyone, we cannot negotiate easements, we cannot do anything. We can't put out a bid for contractors. In fact, we had to cancel our bid for contractors until the lawsuit about the cemetery has been resolved. So we cannot move. It's not that we don't want to or we do want to, we cannot, we're not allowed. That will take however long that takes. No one knows how long that will take. At this point, nothing has happened in the case except the filing of the initial complaint and the filing of the city's response. So as you can imagine, that's the very beginning. And so it will take a while to get that case resolved. Meanwhile, we also discovered there are 4 houses that may or may not have proper easements that the city believed that we had easements for. We need to get out the very initial letters to those folks and start a conversation about whether or not they are willing to do an easement. In addition to that, the people that we were working with are I almost said the wrong words, our eminent domain attorney has been working with the 4 property owners that we ended up needing to go into eminent domain proceedings with. Because of the delays with the Texas Historic Commission, their initial letters are now expired. And the final letters were about to go out, but had to be placed on hold because we had gotten the letter and needed to seek further clarification before we could move forward. So at this point, we need to start over on the 4 eminent domain properties. We have not signed a single agreement with anyone, I don't know why, that had given us an easement. That was not done, so that has to still happen. The 4 properties that we don't know at all because we haven't even begun negotiations with them. And we can't do any of that, not any of it, until the lawsuit is done. And you remember that our timeline is we have to have the entire project done by no later than November to December of 2027. So that gives us just over a year. At the timeline that we had before we were told to stop, we were going to need to hire contractors and have them be able to begin work by September 1st. That was our timeline according to the engineers of what was the latest we could get going. It had to be by then. So at this point, since we can't even contract, we can't do bids, we can't do any of that. It seems to be that Turk and Freeland believe there's no way to move this project
Is he
forward.
here tonight? Is
No,
anybody
he is
from
not.
the engineer?
No, he's not.
Also, have we, I know the, eminent domain attorney resigned, is that true? And
That
and have we hired anybody or in the process of hiring a eminent domain attorney?
is, no.
Why not?
Because she has, I just spoke with her yesterday, and she is going to assist us. She's on the.
So she has not resigned.
No, she's on the Zoom
I
call
thought
tonight.
she did.
And she is going to complete our work, including representing us in the lawsuit and working on eminent domain or whatever other issues need to be done. But she believes 100% we cannot finish the project. Langford has significant doubts about whether or not we
Is
can.
Langford here tonight?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm Kathleen White Button. I'm with Langford Community Management Services. Generally, you work with Alyssa, but I'm here tonight just in the event I can help with some guidance that I can. So.
Mike, at the last time you spoke about this extensively, you had asked to please reach out to the Texas Historic Commission to get clarification on the letter, which we did. Langford had their environmental specialist do that, and the environmental specialist came back and said, well, not just what's in the letter, but actually we can't touch a thing to do with this.
Well, unfortunately, we had an executive session and Langford or the engineer was not in that meeting, which I think is not correct. That is not right, because we, as a council, had to have all the information, and the most qualified person to talk about this project would be the engineer.
Okay.
And I was like, if you could continue on, I mean, I remember in our meeting, if we could go back in our June 19th meeting, I remember Gary specifically stating that by building the culvert that goes into the cemetery would actually reduce erosion of that ravine, therefore actually helping prevent.
And that may be his opinion, and
But again, the problem is, we did not have a discussion with Langford or the engineer in the executive session. And I remember I got in trouble and got crucified, which is fine, I'm a big boy, I can handle that. But we gotta have, the city council needs to have all the information.
you have all.
No, we don't. No, we did not. We did not have Langford.
Last night you received an email summarizing all of this, and they were on there, and excuse me, you are interrupting me right now, let me please respond to your concerns. The engineers are very well-trained specialists in engineering. That is absolutely true, and they can provide you all kinds of information, and none of it matters. Because we have an order from the Texas Historic Commission not to move forward on anything.
That's not my point, Mayor. My point is the reality. No, the
No,
point.
the Texas Historic Commission actually.
I have a question, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're the one.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe you should.
I'm just wondering if the Texas Historic Commission received correct information, because some of the stuff that it looked like was in the report about the erosion to the cemetery, it didn't seem like it was what the engineer had said in the meeting.
Exactly.
So I'm a little bit confused as to how all of that was determined. I mean, where did they get that information?
In the preliminary, we work with the engineers, they provide us information, and we provide that to the Texas Historical Commission. Now, they reviewed that and, we're issuing their, clearance with the need for an archaeologist, which we reached out to procure and get. However, they received other information, right, later from their party regarding the LiDAR, which kind of put us where we are today, where they recommended that we prohibit stop work at the cemetery until we have ownership. Because we can't go on to their property and do any easement or construction work without an easement. So that's where we are today with.
Who has ownership? So we don't know.
We do not know.
So you gotta understand, I've been here longer than anybody in this council. I've been involved with this since the conception of it. So I know more about this road grant than anybody here. You know, Rob DeVinny started it. We went through this whole process of engineering. My problem is, again, I'm gonna say it again on the record, that you and Gary, the engineers, were not notified of the executive section. So how can us as the council make a determination since we do not have the engineer and you guys talking to us? We have one side, we heard from the eminent domain attorney, and, you know, has anybody even explained to them? Has the historic commission ever seen the drawings? Have they ever talked to an engineer? I mean, what I got from that is Gary said it would reduce erosion in that ravine. Also, it would help in a 10-year event. Okay, it actually reduced flooding in a 10-year event. And what I'm gonna say, it's not fair for a half dozen people in this town trying to stop this project. It benefits everybody in this city, okay? And I wanna know, my question, how much do we have to pay back? That's my question. And my other question while I'm at it, what is the rush to stop this grant? Why can't we let you guys work with GLO, work out, what is the rush to kill it right now? Why don't we give it time? Maybe we can convince them to give us more time because it's something out of it's not our mistake. We didn't know about all this.
So Gary did ask if GLO was willing.
But he's not here. That's my problem, Mayor.
I
wanna talk to the engineer.
You may call him tomorrow.
No, that's not the point. That's not the point here. The point is, we're making a very important decision tonight about the well-being of this town. And I want an engineer to explain it. And if you wanted to, we could go on that video from the 19th and explains it very well. And I bet you nobody has sat down and talked to the engineer about this.
Texas Historic Commission?
Well, no, did they talk? I mean, we didn't have.
Let somebody else talk.
No, I'm an
Please.
elected official, I can talk. Why not? She is not on council.
You are not,
She is not on
I'm telling
council.
you.
But I'm telling you,
I'm telling you.
you go ahead, I want to talk, I'm gonna.
You need to stop
No,
because
I'm
no
stopping
one
it.
can
I don't
answer.
care.
No one can answer you.
I want discussion, please.
No one can answer because you won't be quiet.
Go ahead, Mayor,
Thank you.
speak,
Please let me finish
go ahead,
more than one sentence.
go ahead, if you got the floor.
Thank you. So, Turk and Langford.
They're not here.
Is it possible that you can?
Well, you know, what you said.
No,
Okay.
she finished one
Okay,
second.
go ahead, take it.
Turk and Langford, and both attorneys, no, only the eminent domain attorney.
Is she still working?
Please.
We had a conversation with GLO last week.
I wasn't involved in that conversation.
You have never been involved. in
That's right,
those
that's my point.
conversations. During that conversation,
That's all.
Mr. Freeland asked GLO, could we have an extension because the Historic Commission's letter had nothing to do with our timeline? So could we just get an extension to allow us to wait for the lawsuit to finish? And once it was finished, we could pick back up with our work and get an extension of that amount of time to finish, just to put us back on our calendar. They said, no, we have.
I didn't have a conversation.
No, you didn't.
I did, that's my problem.
I don't care.
This is the biggest thing for Martindale. And
Mike, you need to stop and stop.
No, I'm an elected official, I can say what I
You
want to
can
say.
say what you wanna
This
say,
is
and
a
you have
very-
to allow every other person to
I have
speak.
been. Go ahead, go ahead and talk, Marty.
Who else
Go ahead.
would like to speak
Go
besides
ahead,
Mike?
don't talk, discuss it. Go ahead. I want to see your position.
Mike, stop it. You're
No, I'm not gonna stop.
browbeating
I'm
people.
not browbeating anybody. I'm representing.
You're disrupting it and
Disrupting
preventing
our
us.
meeting?
I'm having a discussion with the most
Tommy,
important,
I'm
the
here
most
from
important
this
meeting.
morning, we'd like to hear from Morty.
Go on record, buddy.
Yeah.
I think what I was going to cover, I think we're past with what the mayor said. I think we have to be able to accept new information that comes in, and we have to be able to factor that into a rational decision.
But I kind of agree with what Mike is saying in that if we want to make that decision, then we need to have some more information. And it seems kind of,
What's the rush?
I mean, if we tonight vote to kill the grant, but later we find out something different and that we do end up having to owe money back, then what do we do?
Either way, I mean, if we don't decide tonight, we continue to have to carry this whole project forward. And we're just gonna sit on our hands. It won't change whether we owe money back or not. Either way, the clock is gonna run out. We can't finish it.
But the clock's gonna run out because of things that are not within our control, right?
Yes,
Exactly.
So I mean, what's the difference if we wait?
Yep.
And the time runs out and we forfeit on the grant, or we forfeit on the grant now? How does that affect whether or not we pay the money back?
It lengthened the
That's
change.
how it does it, because we basically just said, forget it, we're not gonna do it, instead of letting it play out and find out if there is something that we can do
Exactly.
to actually finish it in time.
There's nothing we can do to finish it in time until that lawsuit's over.
So we don't know what GLO is going to do until we formally ask them.
Okay.
We can talk to them casually, and they're not going to tell us until we formally approach them with a request and to go over our options. So to gather that information, you're going to have to go to the agency directly, because you are under contract with them, and then in the contract, it does state that that can happen to you. You are about $1 million in with environmental engineering, acquisition costs, and admin costs at this time. So, we have used the 2-year extension, and as of right now, GLO is saying that is all they're going to get. But, so I don't want to speak for GLO and what they may or may not do, because I don't know, right? And this is not something that generally happens. We don't see this a lot. I have not experienced this directly, but it's something we will have to have a communication with the agency so that we can really understand what playing field is.
So give you a chance. Exactly. What's the rush?
Can it be a hypothetical question to?
It already has.
It already has been. They're not going to make a statement without a formal vote.
I see,
So how do we initiate?
We have to make a decision in order to have a conversation with them?
I think we can initiate a conversation with GLO, and then we can move forward with that. You don't have to have.
So we don't have to do anything first in order to have the conversation. We can go have the conversation with GLO and have the benefit of that.
I think that would be wise.
Doug, real simple. If somebody intervenes in a process and it's fraudulent, can you countersue them for your cost? Maybe not for the entire $6 million, but if you're $1 million in and this lawsuit turns out to be fraudulent or not in good faith or doesn't win, countersue. They cost you $6 million, at least recoup your $1 million in.
Well, I'm gonna leave that kind of legal advice to our attorney.
It was just a question.
I appreciate that.
Sure. So.
I think that's an important question.
We can have the conversation, but it's up to our attorney, not to.
Yes, like,
Yeah.
it's just, sometimes people do things and not really, they're not willing to take the responsibility of actually what happens afterwards.
No kidding.
Yeah, so,
I'm sorry, wait a minute. Did you wanna say something?
Yeah, I just wanna make a comment. I don't know why I was in a meeting at one point with, and I know you were there with Freeman, and like Langford, And I had asked, I think I had asked Jared at one point also, how often are y'all meeting? Because we don't know. As landowners.
Isn't that interesting?
I don't know how often these meetings are happening.
Right.
Okay, so one. My statement is there are so many facets to this. I do not understand how the council can vote at this time to kill this grant. And I'm gonna speak personally. I have hired an attorney, protect myself and my property. My attorney is not getting anything from whoever's attorney the eminent domain is. So we can point fingers at all of these people, but when it comes down to it, I think that the city council, I'm not gonna excuse you, I think that these city councils of Martindale have failed on this grant. I was told before walking into this room that my husband was gonna have to recuse himself because he owned property that we're talking about. The people that started this grant, how many of them were on city council? How did that grant get approved?
It was under the, Rob Devaney's.
I understand, it's a hypothetical situation, okay? So my point is, I think everyone here doesn't have the right information. I do not feel we have the right information. I do not know how anybody can make a vote. I mean, I wrote this down, so not knowing what the monetary repercussions are going to be for the grant. How can you say I'm gonna kill this when we don't even know what we're up against?
Good point.
I agree.
I'll make a motion.
Hold on, please. Susan, you had something to say?
Okay,
Is that all right with you?
go ahead. You have the floor.
Is it possible, and it's hypothetical, you may not be able to answer it, but if GLO learns that we've been stopped through no fault of our own, for whatever reason from the historical commission, is it possible they would take that into consideration in determining whether or not we would have to pay back the fund?
I cannot answer in part for DLO. They would have to, you would have to approach them again with that kind of a
Okay.
request.
But it is certainly something you could bring up. I mean, you can't go,
Sure, but
right.
I can't tell you what the outcome of that would be.
But what you're saying is that you can have a conversation, it has to be somehow formal, but you can have a conversation with them about if we stop this, will we have to pay it back?
So how do we initiate
Yeah, how
that
do we do
formal discussion with the GLO?
I think it starts with reaching out and having, inclusive, with the engineer, attorneys, GLO in the city, Langford present, and have that initial reach out, and then look to them for guidance for how they want this to go, or how this would go, if we want to initiate that.
With the entire city council.
And would that happen, would that be an
I
executive
don't know
session?
who the representative would
Could
be,
be an
I'm just saying that,
Oh, I see, so it wouldn't be, okay.
because we're gonna have to reach to them to guidance for how that looks. I mean, like I said, this is a contract between the city and GLO, and we would want to be able to know all areas of that. So, I mean, this could be procedurally, a complex,
Very.
right? So I would want to turn to them. I do not want to speak on behalf of what that would look like for you, or for the city, or for GLO, so.
No, but I appreciate the suggestion.
I'll make a motion to table item 4.4, rejecting the Northwest River Road grant due to we don't have sufficient information to make an informed decision without GLO, and I believe that we should be an executive session with GLO. But that's my motion. I motion the table.
I'll second that.
Discussion.
Mayor, you mentioned some dates of November and December of 27, but it's in actuality November, December of 26.
You're right.
And the
Thank you.
project was gonna have to be completed by January of 27. So we're looking at November, December of 26. We were told by the engineers, well, actually, we thought through our previous city administrator that he had been saying, oh, well, shovel will be in the ground by February of this year. A shovel will be in the ground by March. That hasn't happened. It hasn't started to happen. And we know the timelines of the projected dates or time frame to get this project completed was around 380 to 392 days. We knew from the engineer that told us that the project was gonna have to start by September 1st. We're almost in August 1st now, so we have 1 month to think that we could possibly continue these discussions, and it is not going to happen. We're gonna have to spend more money on attorney's advice, and also we heard from the eminent domain attorney that if the Texas Historic Commission, since they have filed this lawsuit against the city, that we could possibly, as a city, spend upwards to maybe $150,000 in a lawsuit, in legal fees, because the grant doesn't cover any legal fees. The eminent domain attorney told us that in order to use her to get these 4 properties, her fees were gonna be roughly around $15,000 per party. And that has nothing to do with the other 4 parcels that have come up because of the conflicting information about the easements on the other side of Northwest Road, of Quentin's old home there. And so we're looking at probably 8 eminent domain land acquisition procedures that have to be completed. We need to see the writing on the wall and know that the Texas Historic Commission has filed this lawsuit against us, and they have based their information on what they have concluded about the cemetery. We have no time to finish the project. We have no time to start the project. And I think we should throw in the towel and say that many mistakes were made, because monthly meetings were held between the previous mayor and Langford and the engineer. Those were closed sessions. They were never allowed to have city council members come.
That's not true.
Well, I never was invited to one, and you don't need to respond. I'm just making a comment. I had never been to one.
Yeah.
Okay? One, I went to the breakout when they started on the $2.7 million grant.
Okay.
Okay, but-
Continue to address the room. Now
Okay.
have an individual side conversation.
Okay, so all I'm saying is that it's futile for us to proceed
That's your opinion.
and continue. It's my opinion.
Your opinion.
And
We are in discussion, Mike.
I
He is expressing his opinion. Just like you did.
I think that this has gone on too long. It'll have to be a learning session from the city about how this was possibly mismanaged. And it's costing us a lot of money, and it will cost us more money, which we don't have. I think we should throw in the towel and say, let's not continue this anymore. The Historic Commission is gonna beat us around on this for months, and I know that. I've heard it. I know that.
All we're asking for is to table this, to get Langford to talk to GLO, so we can have an expert and discuss it in executive session with all members of the council, with an engineer, with the experts, and having a conversation. And that's not asking much to table something of this magnitude, $6.7 million. Just say that again, 6.7. And you know what? We're in a hopeless situation, because most of those towns say, y'all never fix the roads. Y'all never fix the roads. Here's an opportunity to fix the roads, and we can't even table something further discussion? Now, come on, people, let's just table it and let Langford get with GLO, get with us, get with the attorneys. We'll have a frank conversation in executive session.
Well, I think the point that Sam is making was that we don't really have enough information.
Yes.
So I think having a discussion would increase the amount
Yes,
of information that we have. If I'm gonna vote something down or say, let's just do without it altogether, then I at least wanna understand exactly why. I wanna know that what is being told to me is actually accurate, because I know there was a huge complaint against, I guess it went to the GLO because they thought there were all these different, basically dishonest or deceptive facts that allowed us to get the grant. And from what I read, none of those were completely substantiated. There were a couple of them that were partially substantiated. So even the people who want to get the grant killed didn't necessarily have the correct information in order for those things to be substantiated. So I just don't know how to vote something that I don't.
Exactly.
If they give us information and they say, you know what, you guys are crazy, don't do it, there's no way, and everybody in the room says that exact same thing, I still don't understand why we would have to kill it today in order to save whatever we're gonna save. Maybe we are gonna spend more in legal fees,
We don't know.
and obviously we already are spending more in legal fees.
You know, to be fair, it should be a referendum with the public to vote.
Well, yeah,
It should
because
be
there
a
are,
This is beyond us.
but it's already been voted on, it's already
But I'm
been.
saying it's been voted on, but this is such a huge issue for the city that we as council think is monumental to the city. And I imagine most people would probably want a new road. What is the big deal in Maplewood salt? I don't understand.
Let me take a shot at something. Whether we vote to kill the project now or whether we table it, either way, it seems to me that we have to pull together the meeting that
Right.
whose members that you listed, which I wrote down GLO, our city lawyer, Langford, Turk, and city council.
And that.
And if we do it before we kill it, then we may have some information that would inform killing it. If we do it, if we kill it now, we still gotta go have that conversation with them to beg forgiveness, to try to get them to not cause us to have to pay $1 million back.
But we need facts.
Hang on, I hear you. Just let me finish. I don't think it's too much of an accommodation to the people who are proposing that we give this grant one last chance to have a meeting with the GLO, the city lawyer, Langford, Turk, and city council before we make a final decision to kill the grant. I think we could take some action that could actually put us in a worst case to try to stay out of harm's way with the grant. So my thought would be, what I would like to see is for us to schedule that meeting as soon as possible, so that we can have the benefit of that information.
I agree.
Great, good point.
I have absolutely no objection to scheduling that meeting, and like you said, Maureen, we will have to have that meeting.
It's gotta happen
either
before or
way.
after, so we might as well have the benefit of it.
I do have, a small, comment, which is just that the reason why it's on the agenda this time is because at the end of last time's executive session, we decided as a group, we couldn't take any action because it wasn't on the agenda. So I was asked to put it on the agenda, that's why now, to answer the question of why do we have to do it now, I was asked to put it on because we didn't have a motion last time. So it is here. At the end of executive session, I was asked to look into A, the GLO and whether or not they were willing to do an extension, and B, reach out to, the Texas Historic Commission and find out more detail on what that letter meant in actuality. We did both of those. I reported them to you in writing in an email yesterday, to keep you updated. And, then I tried my best to explain it today with a few interruptions. So I am fine with going ahead and tabling this until we have that meeting and have more information. I would like you to consider, if there is any way you would be willing to possibly ask the GLO about their comfort level with who attends the meeting. I have no concept of whether they typically, when we've already got all of those other people in the room, I don't know whether they typically have a meeting with the entire council. If maybe we could send representatives more than me or whoever, but like just whoever you want, but I don't know. I would like to leave that up to them about like what's the ceiling level for a meeting like that. Sometimes organizations like the GLO or the HUD try to limit how many people are in the room talking because it makes the meeting go on forever. So I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there for consideration.
I wonder if they'd be willing to do like a Zoom, you know, like have a couple of representatives in person, but then allow the council to be on Zoom.
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe we wouldn't have to all be in the room,
Yeah.
it'd be.
The monthly meetings are on Zoom.
Okay.
So yeah, that's very possible.
That way we can all hear it, but we don't have to, so that nobody gets into a.
Sure. Sure.
Here, that's one for the question earlier, through the grant administrator. So whose job was it to determine who owned the cemetery, where all the plans came together, and before the package was sent out on the eminent domain?
On eminent domain?
Yeah, well, and like who's like, because to me it seems like you would have known who owns a piece of property before you send them an eminent domain packet. Or you would know who owns the property before you,
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
move forward.
Yeah, I'm not sure we should be talking about that.
I was just wondering who called it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we made
let's go ahead and deal with the motion that's on the table. You guys are welcome to talk about that after.
Thank you.
Okay, so the motion was to what?
To table.
To table it until after we've met with the GLO, the city lawyer, the eminent domain attorney, Langford, and Turk and Freeland. And
Along with city council
And the
representatives as determined by, as suggested by GLO.
GLO, yes.
Okay. All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
opposed.
Okay. All right, then,
I'm
four,
at state.
yeah, 4 in favor and 1 opposed. 3 in favor and 1 opposed. All right, the motion passes and we will set that meeting up and I will be in touch with you about that.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Mhm. All right, next is the Heritage Tree Ordinance. We just need to do, oh, no, we actually are not going to do a first reading of the Heritage Tree Ordinance tonight because it turns out that that was drafted a while ago, and so we included the earlier draft in your packet. But what we did not do is make sure that we had sent it to our current attorney to have them look at it and make sure that it's in good ordinance fashion and that it is legally compliant now because it was an older draft that we were working on in the past. So Sam, next time, I'll make sure that they get a hold of it. I put that on when you asked for it at the end of the last meeting. So I apologize for that. I will, get in the swing of it. Then, the next one is 4.6, the amendment to the San Marcos River Jurisdiction Ordinance. That also has to be tabled because, we need to do some more fact finding. That is the amendment where, we set up the can ban in the past, and we passed the amendments. And what back with and we were supposed to file it within 30 days with Caldwell and Guadalupe, and we did not do that. So in the meantime, we need to go back and look and make sure we have the appropriate jurisdiction to be able to make that change.
I remember, I've learned that one already, but like, I'm a little stunned, I guess, I'm just.
Yeah, we have 30 days to do it, and if possible, we won't need to redo it because it wasn't contested, but we just need to make sure in records that we had gotten permission to change our own jurisdiction.
And it posted that in the papers. I was.
But we needed to ask JLO.
Okay, I remember having a conversation with someone a couple years ago about them, like, well, we posted it in, in the paper, I don't know. You obviously are investigating, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it and get it over with.
Right, I'm gonna have to dig kind of deep to find Mosher Doyle's records about that, but we're doing it, we're working on it. We'll get back to y'all. And then last is, could we please have the motion to schedule the workshop that we talked about last time on flooding preparation, to get some feedback, from citizens of Martindale about these projects? What, we were suggesting the 27th last time. It seemed like people were in favor of doing a workshop, but we needed a date, so that's fine.
It's at 6:30.
Yeah, it's Wednesday, August 27th at 6:30. Does that work for y'all?
Works for me.
Motion then?
Make a motion that we schedule a workshop on August 27th, 2025 at 6:30. To discuss the river basin flood study alternatives and follow down FEMA hazard mitigation plan.
I'll second that. Excellent. Any discussion? And, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Unanimous.
All right, fantastic, it's unanimous. We will get to work putting the word out on that. And then, next time we will have, those two ordinances back again, and we hopefully will have a meeting in the city with.
We have a motion with her.
About this, yeah,
I'm gonna take that other item later.
okay,
I need to talk later about something.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to not go away, not continue
okay.
today.
So future agenda items that need to be included? Anybody?
Yeah, well, there's one item.
Okay. Anything else? All right then.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 8:40 PM.
I second that.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.